Vibes. Hi, it's Maria. And I just wanted to thank you so much for your positive vibes. I love it. Welcome to Positive Vibes Influence Podcast, PIP. Positive Vibes. I wear the mask. Main concept, don't judge a book by its cover. Main goal, spreading the positivity any way possible.
Positive Vibes. What's going on, my friend? Thank you. This is Patrick from We Live on a Planet.
Thank you for the love and support for Positive Vibes. Thank you for the love and support for one another. Thank you for the love and support for yourself.
Hi, Positive Vibes. This is Chrysanthia with All Things Glam. And I just wanted to say that I really appreciate Positive Vibes.
Hey, my friends, Positive Vibes here. How is everyone doing? Let me just start the recording for the podcast. So, hey, my friends, Positive Vibes here. How is everyone doing? Positive Vibes. I wear the mask. Main concept, don't judge a book by its cover. Main goal, spreading the positivity any way possible. I want to welcome you to Positive Vibes Influence Podcast, PIP123. Yes, my friends, it's episode 123. Started all the way back on October 30th of 2017, this whole podcast part of Positive Vibes. It's been a great journey. One great part of it, to be honest, is all the great connections, friendships that I've built. To this day, still connected with them. And it's wonderful to see how they've been continuing to do their thing, continuing to move forward. They've helped me in so many different ways that they cannot even imagine. And simply by them just being them. So I'm going to keep putting it out there, my friends. Keep doing your thing. Keep being you. Thank you for the few seconds that you've ever given me, that you are giving me, and that you might give to me. Time is precious. And for you to give me a few seconds of your time, it honestly means a lot to me. That's simply just scrolling through some content that I put out there for my social media for Positive Vibes and maybe listening to one word, reading one word, right? Watching 1 second. I appreciate it. So today is Wednesday, April the 15th, 2020. It is 4:13 p.m. Eastern Time here in Toronto, Ontario, Markham to be exact. So I'm recording for the audio part only through Anchor.fm is the app that I use. And for the podcast, and I'm also doing live right now, which I've been playing around with it, right? How to do the lives, where to do the lives. So right now I'm doing it on Instagram at on my Positive Vibes Influence page, right? So it's primarily only for the podcasting content. Earlier today, just a bit of an update. What I did was I woke up in the morning, did my morning prayers. Then I went to sleep a bit after that, and once I woke up, had breakfast, chilled out a bit, just relaxed, and eventually I went into work. Went into work because yesterday, having a conversation with my manager, it looks like I have the opportunity, and others might have as well, to work from home, which wasn't, I guess, an option or possibility in the past. So the last month I've been off of work, it's just more of a risk for me to actually go in and while this, situation is going on in the world with the virus and so on, because of my, weak immune system, right? Of course, I'm getting treatment for it. I'm trying my best to take care of myself the best I can. But overall, I am more prone to pick up all different type of viruses, right? So I've been off for the last month, and then now having a conversation with my manager. I went in today. I picked up my, which I'll show in a video later on. You could check it out on the vlog, which I will be posting at the end of the week. But pretty much, I'll let you watch it, right? I won't say what it is and so on. But generally, just for the concept, for people to know what I do for work, is I take inbound calls for a credit card company, like a financial institution, right? So that's where I work. Been doing this for In this field, it's been about 12 and a half plus years, right, that I've been doing it. So customer service, the financial game, of course. Um, and in this particular job, I've been here since around September of 2013. So I've been here quite a bit. Of course, I've been off quite a bit as well, especially recently due to my health and, of course, due to what's happening. This opportunity now is something new, right? It's something I'm looking forward to. It's a change, being able to do what I'm good at, I guess, being able to assist people, help people in a different way with their inquiries. So we'll just go with the flow, right? Of course, I know I will have questions, maybe, issues in the beginning potentially, right? Once I set everything up, but I'm hoping that it goes, smoothly, that there's not no hiccups or anything like that. So my brother-in-law will be coming soon. He lives close by, so I just need his help because we have a desk in the garage, and I need that moved into the basement because I will be setting up an area in the basement for myself because my wife and my sister are working from home because we all live in the one place. And for me, I need a little bit of quietness, quiet as much as possible, right? Because my parents are here, a few of my nieces are here, so it could get loud at times, right? So the basement is the best place for me, right, to do my work. This whole week, that's what we've been talking about. We've been talking about work, my friends. Um, you know, Everything surrounding work, right? Whether like we're talking about my job, whether we're talking about school, whether we're talking about, health, whether we're talking about our mind, there's so many different ways we can look at what work means, working hard and things of that nature. One word that is coming up while I've been talking about work this week is effort, the amount of time that we're putting in. Because the more effort, the more time we put into something, and you've probably seen it for yourself, the better we get at it, right? The quicker things get done, the quicker we can maybe move forward and accomplish certain things, right? I look at myself with my history for, working my job, all the different companies I worked for, right? I still remember that first customer service job that I had. It was an outbound call center. And I was pretty much selling, right? TV guide subscriptions. That's literally what it was. TV guides, there was an offer. I think it was like free, maybe there, and it was different parts in the US. It wasn't even here in Canada where I am. It was in the US, just selling TV guide subscriptions, right? Pretty much different companies. There were companies like Comcast, Adelphia, Cox Cable. There was Times Warner. So those were a few companies that, we would call on behalf of, right? And literally pitch them. And I know some offers, right? It was probably free for a certain amount of time, and then it goes up to a certain regular price, or there was maybe a small fee to start off with, right? Gradually, that turned into offering channels, offering cable subscriptions and different packages and so on for these same type of companies, right? That's pretty much where I started from, and that's where the whole customer service game for me started from, right? For the call center environment, if you want to say it. From there, worked there for quite a bit, and it evolved, right? Different campaigns. It wasn't only um, the cable, like I said. It was eventually I did even, what was it, lawn care service. What else was there? But the primary one was that one, right? The primary one. One second. Yeah, I'm going to eat in a bit. The wife is like, you're going to eat. And I'm not going to make this too long, so we're almost done for sure. Like I said, just going with the flow, right? But yeah, so pretty much doing that. From there, I moved to my first financial job because while I was there, I should say for a short period of time, I still remember we did CIBC. Think I was remember it was CIBC. Though might could be another credit card. So it was credit cards, right? And I still remember doing that, and it was a campaign that lasted for a few months. That was something different. And then my first job, like my first financial job, which wasn't outbound anymore, it was an inbound call center. And since then, ever since I started there back in, don't quote me on this, but I think it's roughly around 2005, if I'm not mistaken, roughly. So I probably worked at the other job for about 3 years. So I would say around 2002 is when I started there. So 2005 is when it started at American Express. So it was close by home, right? There was just pretty literally one bus that I take, and it drops me right in front of my workplace. It was a bus that didn't come frequently, but when I did catch it, it was literally like maybe 15, 20 minutes away, which is how far my current job is, right? About 15, 20 minutes to get to. And worked there after a certain time frame. I think it was about 3.5 years roughly. I was laid off. I moved to another institution after that, not immediately, but eventually I got a job with Bank of Montreal. From Bank of Montreal, I worked there for a year, and it was something, right? It was a lot of traveling for sure. It took me a good anywhere from an hour and a half to over 2 hours to get to my workplace because I don't drive. I take the bus, I take the subway, and depending on delays and so on, it could be a while, right, till I get there. So at times, when the way I would travel, it would literally, the way I would go, I guess there was two ways I could go, but the main way I would go is I would take two buses, the RT. If people know the RT, it's the train from above, not the subway, which is underneath, and then two subway trains. The other way I could have gone, I might have done a few times, was one bus and then two trains, right? But the time frame to get there was similar, right? So I did that for about a year, maybe over a year, and they were moving. They were moving to Mississauga. Again, I live in Markham, and traveling there because I don't drive. The only option was if I wanted to look into possibly moving, right? Which that was the decision we made. So I started looking for new work, and I got a job at CIBC, right? So CIBC I did for a year, and so when I'm working for this Amex, just so you know, American Express was credit cards. The bank BMO, I worked on both sides. I worked on the credit card side for about 6 months, where you take inbound calls for credit cards, and I worked on the banking side, where they call for everything else, right? Bank accounts, mortgage questions, investments, all of that, right? And you might have to transfer to different departments, but I wasn't primarily dealing with only credit cards then. CIBC was that as well, just mainly the banking side. I wasn't mainly dealing with credit cards at all. It was mainly for bank accounts, not only, but line of credits, trying to start a conversation about mortgages and things of that nature, right? So it was something different, of course. Because of course it's a different bank, right? So you're always gaining new knowledge. So I did that for about, like I said, about a year. This is where Positive Vibes then began, right? That year that I left CIBC. There was an opportunity that came my way, right? And let's not to talk too much about that right now, but pretty much I made a decision to leave my job, right? Because I wanted to pursue what I was going to do, take it as like a home business, I guess, working for yourself. And I wanted to do it full time. Overall, let's just say I did eventually, realizing, but one good thing that came out of it was positive vibes, right? By me, what I learned and what I started understanding for myself. But within a certain period of time, I realized, okay, it's not working out the way I wanted it to, right? So that was an experience, of course, later on that year, which was now we're in 2013. That's when I got the job then, and I applied, and I got the job here at TD. So that has been my journey, right? Of course, there have been other jobs I'll talk about in the future that I've done, right? Just to give you an idea, I've worked labor jobs, right? I worked at a factory where my dad has worked. My mom, pretty much her whole life, her working career has worked. It's a steel tube factory. I've done a couple of I think a winter there, which I worked for about 3 months, 3 to 4 months, and a summer I think I did there as well, which was about 3 to 4 months. So I done that. I worked at a golf range. I worked, where you drive the tractor and it has those rolling things. I don't, there's probably a term for it on the front that you would gets attached to it, and you pick up the golf balls, right? And then they have the cleaner. You have to wash all the golf balls. You have to fill them up in the bucket. So people have been to a golf range, you know what I'm talking about. And so that was pretty fun. I'd done that for 2 summers, right? This was before, me working at I could also say I think I did two jobs at the same time, because at one point when I was working the customer service job I was already doing for the outbound calls, and then I moved over to Amex, I was working both jobs at one time, right? And then same thing, I think when I was working the customer service, at one point I was working the golf range as well. So, and then before that, from high school, from 14 to, let's say, 17, 18, around there. So about 4 years, I would say, I was doing newspapers, right? Local newspaper here, Economist and Sun is what it's called here in Markham. I did that for my neighborhood for 4 years, right? So that was, I wouldn't say my first job, right? Because that was it started off with one delivery a week, where we would have to get the flyers, get the newspaper, insert all the flyers. I think there was, from my knowledge, around 60, and it might even went up a little bit, but around 60 homes, right, that I was doing. Eventually, it turned into two, and I think there was 3 times a week. There was Tuesdays or Thursdays, one of the two. Then I think there was Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I can't remember exactly, but there was about 2 to 3 times a week that I would have to deliver. Shout out to my brother. He did, a younger brother. He helped me out at times. My parents, of course, and so on. Before that, my dad, where I think I get the urge or the push, the motivation to do something for my own as well, right? The My dad had a business. Now he's done businesses in the past, right? But that I don't fully remember. I remember he did a rental where we had Pakistani movies was generally what we had, and people would rent out the movies from us, so we would have it from home. And my dad also makes sweets, so Pakistani sweets, right? So he done that a couple of times, right? Where he would sell sweets pretty much to primarily, I think, people as well, but generally to stores, right? That sell these type of sweets, Pakistani Indian sweets. So, but pretty much when back in 1992 or 93, we started a carnival. It was called, at that time, I think the original name was Runga Runga Mela. Let's just take it, it was more for, Pakistani, right? But South Asian type of community, right? Where we would do it here at Markham Fairgrounds. And my dad, along with 3 other uncles, which we pretty much grew up with them, family friends, right? Close friends, we grew up with their kids and everything like that. We were all involved, right? I still remember the car having to set up everything, right? My dad, from the beginning, was, from my knowledge, was in charge of booking stalls. So we would have stalls, food stalls, clothing stalls, music, toys. I still remember all of them, right? That they would have different type of stalls. And we would be, so my dad was primarily, that was his focus. Just checking my message, was checking his message, and not checking his message, I'm checking my message, but so he would book the stalls, right? And then everybody had their own, things that they were in charge of, I guess. When it came time for the setting up of the event, that's where we came in, right? Child labor. But I think I was around 10, 11 years old when we started, right? For me. My younger brother is a year younger than me. My brother is 4 years older, and then all their other kids of the other uncles. So we would set up the tables. We would set up the chairs. There was a concert that would happen. We would book, singers, right? That would come. I remember at times we had magician. We had different things at times, right? But we would set up all the chairs. I still remember that, right? And I did that for a long period of time because we did this fair for quite a long time. I think the last time we did it, now I started at Amex 2005, and it was still happening during then. BMO, I believe it was still happening. So I believe I'd like to say close to 2010, maybe even after that. I can't remember exact year. But maybe I could put that in my vlog if I remember it for sure. But yeah, we would set it up. So that was work, right? That whole concept of, putting in some effort, and we were getting paid. I still remember back then getting paid $5. We would do it based on age. That's how the uncles will do it, right? The older kids will get paid a little bit more. Younger kids will get paid less. So we were getting paid $5 an hour. I still remember, my friends, $5 an hour. And we were happy, right? We'll always wait for that payday. We were always, after the event is done, after maybe the next day or the weekend, all the uncles will get together, the family will get together, and, the envelopes will all be there ready, right? I still remember one time at one of the uncle's house, and the envelopes were there, maybe in a rubber band, and they just put it on the floor there, and we're all looking at it, ready for them to call us. And that's what they would do, right? Call us, and they will give us our envelopes, right? Pretty much our pay. Those were good times, right? A lot of memories. All my jobs, all my experiences, my friends have helped me become the person I am today, right? The person I am today with all those life experiences, all I talked about so far, all I talked about was my work experience. This does not include me going to school, right? The communities I've lived in, the neighbors I've had, people that have gone, people that have left, me going to the hospital, the doctors that I've connected with, everybody, people that have lived in our basement, right? Meeting people through people, right? Friends of friends. And there's so many other things that I haven't even touched on that work, if you want to talk about the concept of work, could be related to. You know what I mean? Um, housework, and things of that nature. And, all of this, when I talk about it, when those situations are happening, so many different thoughts are going through our head, right? And that things that I don't even remember now, of course. Right? And that makes you think that there's maybe things that we are stressed over, that maybe even at that time. Still remember getting in arguments. We all get in arguments with family and friends and stuff like that. Still remember, right? I still remember it was my younger brother and one of our family friends. They got in a fight when we were like setting up the event. We were probably around that age, right? 10, 11 years old. And I still remember that, right? And then family backing up family and all of that stuff, right? But imagine, like, that's the past. It's not like I would like to believe, I know me, but now I'm much older. Time has moved forward, my friends. Time is precious. And that's why we just got to focus on the time that we have and make the best of it. Put in the effort that we feel we can. It's not about, yes, 100%. The more effort, the more time you put into things, the further you're going to get, maybe the quicker you're going to get. The results might come a little bit quicker, but I feel like you need to do it at your own pace. That's how you're going to learn for yourself. Whatever steps you take, whatever time you take is going to work out for you the best way possible. Because whether we see it or not, and we're not supposed to see everything, we don't understand everything, but time will only tell, right? Um, now I have this opportunity after all of this, right? Dealing with my health, going into work, wondering, okay, should I be changing my field? Like, because the whole concept was, a part of it was that my health, right? And it's not the best thing for me always to be around people, especially if people have viruses on them, right? Different ones that they don't know, or they have a bit of a cold that for me might be a lot worse, of course, right? And now I have this opportunity to work from home and still do my PositiveVibes brand, which I've been doing for 7.5+ years, which is a whole different story, right? That we haven't talked about. That's work for me. So work, my friends, we have to try to make the best of it, have fun with it. Right now, not all of us, but some of us have the opportunity of working from home. If you're working from home, but you live alone, it's time for you just to reminisce in a little bit of a different way, right? That instead of going into work, now you already relax and you do your own thing at work, but now you're working. So it's a different type of environment, maybe to change something up in your life. Same thing if you have family, you have kids that you live with, you'll be able to be around them a lot more. Maybe understand your spouse a lot better, understand your kids a lot better. They can understand you a lot better. So many different ways of looking at it, my friends. Just do your thing. Keep being you. Keep doing you. I'm just going to keep repeating the same thing over and over, my friends. We're all in this together. Okay. Today is hashtag PV Influence Wednesdays, and it's all about the podcast, of course, as well. The concept about influence. When we go to our work, when I've worked, like I just said earlier, that all of that has helped me become the person I am today, because we're all influence one another in some way, right? By the work that we're doing, by us going to work, by what we're doing online, by, like I said, housework, by us going out and doing yard work, by the homework, by school, by us working, you know, it's influencing us, the biggest thing, but it's also influencing others, giving other people ideas of what to do, what not to do. Businesses are, when you go to your job, like what I like to believe is that they are listening, they are watching, right? Whether things are being implemented, but everything gets implemented at different stages, different times. I've seen that at my different workplaces that I've seen, especially at TD, being here since 2013. I've seen where they were when I started and where they are now. And it's always, for me, I've always seen them. They're trying to get better. They're trying to make changes. Some things people like, some things people don't. Maybe there's things that I don't like. But again, overall, I look at the bigger picture. I see that they're trying, right? So keep working, my friends. Keep working on yourself. Keep working, doing your jobs, your school, whatever you need to do for life, but work on your mindset, my friends. All of what I said is related to, also, it's related to so many things, but it's related to our mind. right? The more we could focus on what's happening in our lives, in our surroundings, what we're doing, what we're not doing, it could help us move forward. It could help us focus and control our thoughts, our opinions, and change it up and learn our, thoughts, views, opinions, our experiences will continue to, change. We're going to have a different experience tomorrow, right? Compared to what we're experiencing today, right? It's our journey. It's your journey. It's my journey. All right. I want to say thank you for joining me for hashtag PV Influence Wednesdays. And this was Positive Vibes Influence Podcast, PIP. 123 123 episodes, my friends. Thank you once again for all the love and support for Positive Vibes. Thank you for all the love and support for one another. Thank you for all the love and support for yourself. Keep going, keep doing your thing, keep being you, my friends. The hashtag trust, hashtag positive vibes, hashtag world of peace, and hashtag PV influence. Take care, my friends.